Welcome back, everyone, to Saucy Bass Talk. My name is Esperanza Rangel, and I am here with a very, very special guest. And I am pretty sure that you guys have heard his bass lines all over your house, your car, when you are on a breakup or in love, because this is one of the most iconic bass players out there that plays some of the most iconic songs out there. And here, our guest, Felix Salinas.
Hello, my name is Felix Salinas, and I'm here at Saucy Bass Talks with Esperanza, and happy to be here.
Yay, and we're so glad that you are here, and we're so grateful that you agreed to do this conversation with us. Today, we're going to be touching a little bit on really just what you are as a bass player and the essence of Felix Salinas as a bass player. But before we get into all that, I wanted to know a little bit about your initial background as a bass player. I know when we talked a little bit earlier, a few weeks ago, you told me a few things about like some musicians you had played with before, some bands, and I was pretty impressed about like Bobby Pulido and then other bands you had mentioned. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about your background as a bass player before joining Intocable?
Well, before joining Intocable, I started playing off uh, with my dad's band and my uncle's band, and that they were called Lenny Salinas and the Lucky Six from La Joya, Texas, and I started off with them at a very early age. Actually, I learned how to play the guitar first, then the bass. So I used to play with them until finally they gave me permission for, I guess, for about 10 or 11 years, from like the age of 10 to like 20. And then after that, they allowed me to go and play on the road and go out and adventure. And I started off with Rubén Vela y su conjunto in 19, I believe 1991, 92. So it's a band from here, from Santa Rosa, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I actually went and Ricky had called me in 94 of December because they were looking for a bass player back then. So that's when I first came into the band of Intocable. And I was there for a good 5, 6 months. And then I left because I wanted to continue and go to college because I was still, wanting to go. From there, that was in the summer of 95. Bobby Pulido, that I've known for a very, very long time, uh, called called me and said, "Hey, I'm gonna start a band. Can you help me get some guys together and let's do this?" I'm like, "All right, that's cool, but I want to go, to college. Let's I'll help you with this." So we got the band going together for Bobby, and at that time, we recorded his first CD where the song Desvelado comes out, and
Yeah.
other songs and stuff. So I
Also
was there for a
very
while.
iconic song too, though.
Yes, it's a very, very nice song. And back from there, I left in about 97, 98, somewhere around there. Again, because I wanted to go back to college because I strongly believe that that I wanted to pursue something in school, right? But when I did in '99, unfortunately, Intocable had an accident, and after the accident, months after the accident, they called me and said, "Hey, we want to record a CD. We don't want to go back on the road, but can you help us?" I'm like, "Sure." And well, I ended up recording again with Intocable in '99 for the second CD I have with them, which is called Contigo, and I've been there ever since. They're my family, and they're great guys, great people. So I've been there ever since.
What a ride, though, right? To have a such a close like family with these band members. A lot of the times we don't see bands, especially I feel like now we don't see bands kind of going for the long run, such as bands like Intocable, right? That have been the same members for quite some time. So I think it's such a blessing that you get to do that, and then you get to play with people that you genuinely care about, and I'm sure they inspire you and you inspire them. I want to know what was the first, if you remember, what was the first show that you played with them that was a big show that you were like, whoa, this is happening, this is a big show. How did you feel when you played that show, if you remember, and what were the emotions going through you while being on that show?
Well, the very first big show that I did with Intocable was in 1995, and we had already recorded uh, the first album CD back then, which is called Otro Mundo, where Boqueta comes out, La Mentira, Parece que no, all those songs. And we went to Monterrey, Nuevo León, well, actually Guadalupe, Nuevo León, and we played at the Expo Guadalupe, and we were the first band opening, and we were opening the show for Los Tigres. So I mean, there was quite a bit of people there. I mean, usually they're called eventos masivos, which it's just a big open space where you got anywhere from 30 to 40, 50,000 people there. And we played at 7 o'clock at night. We opened up the show. We were the opening show for Los Tigres, and I still have the poster somewhere around there since '95. I have it somewhere, but it was nervous. I was nervous and also excited because it was something too new to me, and it felt very nice, very nice, different from playing at a quinceañera or an outside event or a carmes for a church or something like that.
Right.
It was definitely something I still remember to this day.
Yeah, something pretty memorable, I bet. Do you remember what bass you were playing at that time?
Wow, the bass. Yes, I sure do. The bass was a Yamaha TRB 5, the first generation,
Okay.
actually.
And
Yes.
do you still have that bass?
No, I sure don't.
Oh, okay. um,
No.
how many basses have you had through your career?
Wow, I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess, roughly, maybe I've gone through maybe about 30 bases, probably.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, more or less. But you see, in the very beginning, I used to like to do modify the bass guitars.
Okay.
So I would really the first ones that I had, I kind of chopped them up a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and added and took away, and just messed around with the basses, different pickup, just different sounds and stuff like that, just out of curiosity to see what would happen.
Yeah, kind of like project basses, huh?
Right. Yeah. Not anymore though. Yeah. I don't. I just pick up the bass, plug it in, and go now.
And let's go, huh? Yeah. um, from all the basses that you have played with, do you remember any bass that is probably one of the best ones you played, or are there more than one?
No, there's more than one because um, I know this might sound kind of well, not strange, but I'm a firm believer of the bass kind of like picks you. You
Yeah.
really don't pick the bass. It just feels. You have to feel the bass and feel the. I know it sounds kind of weird, but the connection there between you and the bass. Um, about 2 or 3 years ago, my son got a bass, and I loved it. It's a 5 string ultra jazz, uh, and I played it, and he was playing it in high school at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. So I told him, hey, let me try it out in the band. So he lent it to me for a few weeks, and man, I fell in love with it. I went out and bought another one exactly like it from the same store,
Mm-hmm.
same everything, same color, same pickups, everything was identical.
Okay.
And then I gave the bass back to him because the new one came in, and then I took it out on the road, and it didn't. It was total opposite from night to day. It didn't feel the same.
Oh,
It didn't
that's so
sound the same.
interesting.
it didn't nada. So it's kind of like a special connection and you'll feel it when you pick up the bass. You'll feel that ecstasy, este no.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing. You know, I've gone to some music stores. You know, you ask for a bass that's on the wall, and then it's like, okay, well, do you have another one in the box? You know, back there, and they'll bring another one. It's the same bass and everything, but it's gonna sound well, like, you know, sometimes it'll sound different, sometimes it'll sound better. It just depends how it is, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of connection, when you play on stage, how do you connect with yourself and to your bass when you are about to play like these big shows? Is there something special that you do that connects you to what you're going to be doing on that performance?
um no, not really. Before I get on stage, I have stage fright.
Okay.
So I have trouble with that. um the, and till this day, we still, you know, I have a lot of trouble getting up on stage. How do I deal with it? I don't. I just get up and go. You know, the more people there is, the less nervous I get. But let's say, like, I'm in front of 10 people, I'll be extremely nervous because I know that 10 people are going to be actually listening to everything that you're doing as a band, as a person, you know, versus 1,000 people or 2,000 people. Not everybody's going to be really paying attention to you. I don't know if that makes any sense or not.
No, it does. I
All
honestly I
right.
could relate to you on that one because there has been venues that I played at and it's very few people and I am sweating, nervous.
Yes.
But then if I play in a big venue, it is kind of where okay, well they're kind of doing their own thing. I can't really make eye contact with them so I don't feel so nervous. So I get you. I'm sure a lot of bass players relate to this too. It does help that we're a little bit more in the back versus the front end of the band, but
Yes.
regardless, I think I could speak for many bass players out there. I also am a very nervous bass player. I'm a nervous bass player even till this day, and I played for many years. It's it's yeah, it's kind of scary sometimes, and it's funny because it's not like we're
Mhm.
entertaining like vocally or anything like or hosting, right? But
Right.
it's still pretty nerve wracking. And I find it interesting
It's
that you still feel this way to this day, given the fact that you played thousands of shows and you've played so many venues, and that hasn't gone away. It's kind of interesting to me. But how do you guys prepare going off from a little bit from before you guys go on stage? How do you guys prepare like your rehearsals? Do you do rehearsals on your own, just you and your bass, or is it always just with the band?
No, to be honest with you, we don't even practice. Um, we'll do like a sound check, you know, and sometimes we'll just go over the intros of some songs, you know, or another song, and then we won't even play it. You know, it'll be like for next year's show or something like that.
Okay.
But but you know what? I mean, I like me, like, practice. I mean, I really don't even practice. I would like to. I need to, actually, because I need to really brush up on some stuff, on some songs.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm on break, on vacation right now because we're done for the year, uh, I'm going to sit down and practice some of the stuff and not our songs. I like practicing them a lot. I'm an 80s baby. I was born in the 70s. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, throughout the whole scene of the 70s music, 80s, especially, and 90s, you know, I grew up listening to a lot of Little Joey, La Familia, La
Yeah.
Mafia, La Sombra,
Yeah.
a lot of a lot of Motown because my dad loved Motown and stuff, and my uncles, and uh, and all that music. So it still is very challenging for me to to try to take it out.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a lot of fun though. The harder it is, the more I like a challenge because
Right.
I don't know how to read music. Um, I didn't study music. I didn't go to no school. Or the only school I have is the ones that my dad and my uncles, left for me. And that was just at that time, I had a cassette player, and I would just play the song and stop and rewind and play the cassette. And that's really how I learned with the cassette or with the LPs that my dad had,
Mm-hmm.
or in the very beginning when I started learning with 8 tracks and LPs. But yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, I think right now we're so lucky that there's so many resources for us to learn or to even practice songs because we have YouTube. We just literally go
Yes.
on there. There's tutorials and everything. And I was born in the '80s. How weird is that? In the '80s, so I was, thriving through the '90s, right? And so if I wanted to practice a song, I needed to go and buy that cassette player and then rewind it and fast forward, and it was so much, and we were really just learning what we were playing with my dad like in his band. So
Hmm.
now there's so much access to other things. How do you see that now as a bass player starting back in the day till now? How have you seen like the music change, and what do you think about it, like all these new genres that are out there and all these new things that people are playing nowadays?
I think it's great. I mean, I like it. I'm a fan of all music, of all, from everything from Motown to, well, all types of music. I don't. There's even some bands that are from Brazil and from a bunch of different places. I don't even understand the language that
Yeah.
they're singing in, or what language it is, and it's good. I think it's universal. Uh, the music. So I really like it, and it's great that all these new apps and all this other stuff is coming out that helps one learn, because it's just like me. I want to fix a washer, where I get on YouTube and I get
A
how to
tutorial.
do this, or how, yeah, you try to do it self, you know but it doesn't always work for me, because maybe I did something wrong or didn't do a step. But
Yeah.
it's great, because I mean, it allows you to learn a little bit, not easier, but it's there's a tutorial that helps you,
Right.
versus put the cassette in, rewind. Then my cassette player wasn't that great, so it would eat up the tape, and there
Oh
you
yeah.
are taking the thing out of the cassette player. Then yeah, it busted. So either you open the cassette up and put tape on each side of the actual tape of the cassette, so it could play, and maybe it would, or you would just go buy another one.
Yeah, and then you're there like trying to bring it back in with the pencil. I don't know if you ever did that.
Yep. No,
Yeah.
been there, done that plenty of
Yeah, it's
times.
interesting times, but look at us now, right?
Hmm.
How time has changed everything.
And
Um,
it's great. It's very
oh
good.
yeah, definitely. I do want to talk a little bit about the songs that I want to say that they're the most special to you in your career with Intocable. Are there any songs that you could say, oh, either a song or a few songs that you could say, oh, I love playing this song. I'm glad we're playing this one at the show. Is there any song that you have a special connection with?
Well, all the songs are really, I have a certain connection with. I can't think of just like 5 or 10. It's just they're all special to me. You know, um, I like playing all of them. There's not one single song that you can say, well, you know what, I don't want to play this song, or no. I mean, they're all just they're great to play.
Yeah, other great
Um,
songs.
they're all good songs. All songs are good. I mean, I like playing like one of them, and is Fuerte No Soy.
Hmm.
Another one is Sueña, Coqueta. I like the new songs that we have also, Obsesión. They're all good. Eso duele, Enséñame a
Hmm.
olvidar, Estás que te pelas. I mean, they're all the songs. They're great songs.
Oh,
You
definitely.
know,
And I'm glad that you brought
it's
up about like the new songs because I actually was at at your guys' show earlier this year out here in I think it was the one in
Anaheim.
Anaheim, yeah. I was
Yes, at
at
the
that
Honda Center.
show. Yes, exactly. And there was a lot of new songs that I was like, oh, I need to actualize myself because there's a lot of new songs that I haven't learned to be able to actually sing them loudly at your concert. So how do you guys prepare to start these new songs? Because obviously the other ones you guys have played for years, but
Right.
you have new songs now. So how does that come together? Is it someone like brings in this new like song and they're like, we're gonna play this? How does that work? What's the process?
Well, the process on the new songs, Rick will pick them out. Well, he's the one who sings them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's always picked them out, and he knows what's best, and he'll tell us, hey, let's these are the songs I would like to sing, the new ones, and it just flows in the band real nice, and we practice them and get them down, either like every year at the beginning of the year before we take off on tour, we'll get together, and usually it'll be in Zapata, or they'll get a place, we'll borrow a place, and we'll sit down all like in a circle type of deal, and we'll take out. There's a list of the songs that we want to do, and we'll try them. You know, uh, Not all the songs that they take out we'll play them, because let's say, okay, well, we want to do this song and then three more, but let's say one of the songs we're not really feeling it at the time, or it doesn't feel like it fits. Not so much not feeling it, but it doesn't fit with that space or with that other song. So we might do it, we might not do it. It just depends on how the crowd is, or
Mm.
how it's feeling. We'll just take one or put another one,
Okay.
just depending. But
Yeah.
it's really it just flows really.
Yeah, it seems like it. Talking about flowing, I want to know a little bit about the dynamic between you and your drummer because, as you know, drummers and bass players they go hand in hand, right? Like there has to be this connection, this almost unspoken vocabulary between you guys that when you play, you want to sound, very acoplados and everything. And obviously, we hear it with you and Rene, right? We hear this connection that
Mhm.
it's undeniable and it's so flowy, it just kind of happens. Can you talk to me a little bit about the dynamic between you guys?
Yes, definitely the dynamic. uh well, we've been playing together since 1995,
Mm-hmm.
so it's been playing together for a long time. But it's really eye communication, and hearing. You really have to leave your mind open, and things aren't always what they seem. Um and sometimes you just gotta listen to the empty spaces, and if they're empty, it's for a reason. But you also gotta be ready to go. And like, as a bass player, I listen a lot to the toms,
Mm-hmm.
a lot, and to the hits that he does. But I'm also listening to Rick's voice,
Mm-hmm.
because actually he's actually giving you, as de cuenta, Rene will be hitting, his hits on the toms or wherever he's doing, and he's giving you the place. He's either he's either giving you the place of when to hit or when not to hit.
Okay.
And like every hit that he does doesn't really need a reaction to it. Sometimes it's just him by himself. But on the other hand, Rick is, if you listen to the voice, to the singer's voice, or whoever's singing or playing, they're going to give you what note to hit or what relative note to hit,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um, but really, that's how I base myself off of those two instruments,
Yeah. Okay.
and just really by watching Rene, see what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes less is more, you
Yeah,
know
I
and
agree.
then sometimes it's not. Sometimes more is better, but it just depends on what you're feeling, because we don't play the same every night. We
Right.
don't do the singing breaks every night. I mean, we do the ones that were on the record, or so I say, well, not even CD now. what's the list of
Yeah.
songs that we play. Let's
Yeah.
just put it like that. There's, so it just depends, how you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
that day, that night, that performance, um, it's all feeling. It really is.
Yeah. It's just a vibe, right? Um,
Yeah, it's the vibe, definitely.
I know that when you guys do your shows, I mean, it almost sounds to me like the times because I think I told you when we talked previously to this. I
Mhm.
think I've seen you guys play no less than like 10 to 15 times. Honestly, every time you guys came out here, since I was able to drive somewhere, I went to see you guys.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and every time that I've seen you guys play, I remember always thinking, these guys must be like in a studio rehearsing day and night because everything sounds so good. Like everything sounds so on time. Everything sounds very purposeful. It just sounds really, really like you guys are so prepared. But obviously, you guys play so many shows and you guys have the same connection all the time, right? Um, I want to know a little bit about what you use for your amp, like when you go play. Is there like a specific amp that you use, or it depends on the venue where you go?
Well, before I used to use an amp. It was 810s with PV with the PV head,
Okay.
and then the in-ears came along, so we started using in-ears, no bass amp, just in-ears.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, I'm a guy that I need to feel the bass, feel the kick.
Mm-hmm.
So, they started adding a sub, and then I would take one ear in ear off, and then they added a monitor, and that was enough. So I went back to the bass amp,
Okay.
but now what I use a subwoofer on the bottom, and I just run the kick through it,
Mm-hmm.
and I top it off at 100 hertz, so nothing above 100 hertz gets through it,
Okay.
and all I just feel is air. I still use the in ears,
Mm-hmm.
and right now I'm in between amps. I'm leaning, towards using I don't know which amp yet, but I know I definitely want 212s at least.
Yes, I
And
agree.
I'm not too sure in which amp direction I'm going with because I have a couple of options,
Uh-huh.
but that's what I'm going to be using. Um, Really, I don't need too much volume on stage. I use it at a very, you know, because I have the in-ears on, and from the
Right.
woofer, I just run the kick, and then from the bass amp, what I'm really hearing is just like the mid highs, mid. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
still running full range, but just enough to where I can just hear it the distance, the 2 feet or 3 feet from the
Right.
amp. I mean, I don't move. I just stand there and try to smile. But and a lot of people say, no, well, this guy doesn't move, doesn't smile. I don't too much, and I am having a good time. I don't express myself too much. I'm more concentrated on what I'm doing. I'm listening to the whole band
Mm-hmm.
play and see where I come in, and that's why this music that we play, it's not easy. It is hard. Um, like I said, I didn't have any schooling, so some people ask me, well, did you go to Berkeley? Did you go here?
Mm.
Or I'm like, no, I studied at home with my dad,
Yeah.
and it was hard because I would ask my dad, how does this song go? Can you teach me the skill? And he would say, no, I'm not going to teach you the skill.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to give you the first note. I'm going to give you the last note, and you figure out the rest.
Yeah.
So I really had to sit and listen and hear, try to, at that time, early 80s, try to figure out a song,
Yeah.
and listen to the note, listen to what they're doing. Not only that, listen to the way they execute it. Are they punching the note? Are they really getting in there? Are they playing soft? And I had to listen for that. If I
Right.
would get stuck, then yeah, they would. He would come in. Okay, well, Sabaske, it's this note. It's not this note. Or they only played for this amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
don't extend it,
Yeah.
But other than that, I kind of had to figure it out by myself
Yeah.
if I really wanted to learn, which I did, and which I'm still learning today. So, I'm barely like maybe 10 years ago, I barely started learning what the keys or what, I would ask what tono it is. And, they would just open the accordion and play the note. Or then finally I started learning, okay, it's tan do,
Uh-huh.
which I thought was D,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
not D.
It would be
Do
C,
is
right?
C.
Yeah.
At least I think it's C.
Yeah, I think so.
Re is do is, well, I mean, anyway, we see how I
And
get confused, but
yeah.
I don't know scales. I don't know pentatonic scales. I don't know anything. I can't even solo if my life depended on it.
Oh, really?
Don't solo or you're gonna drown. I'm gonna drown. I'll see you
You're like, you
later.
know what?
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry. I lived enough. I'll just let this one go.
You know, I don't know how to play a solo or anything. It's just all feel. With
Yeah.
the rest of the guys. I mean, you know, uh, and Brick is the same way. Rene is also, there's not somebody to tell us this is the right way to do it, this is the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
It's more of how you feel. If you feel it and you have confidence, uh, it's gonna sound, it's gonna, if you, more than anything, if you're confident about playing it in your, let's say in the wrong key, but if you're really confident, it's not gonna sound like bad, really. I mean, it's gonna be, I don't know if I'm explaining myself or not.
Yes, I think Marcus Miller said something very similar to it where he says there's no wrong notes. And then there's a video that backs him up where he's just kind of going with the flow and the groove of things. And it
Exactly.
just sounds fine, And I think being able to execute it that way is so important because como dice mi papá, si sabes echar mentiras en el bass, you really go a long way, right? Like, and it's to a
Right.
certain extent you could do that, right? But that's
Yes,
really
only to a
interesting
certain extent.
that you say that. One of the things that resonated with me right now is how you said that you just stand there and smile and you're not very animated when you're playing.
No, not
It's
at
funny
all.
because one of the biggest things I would get told all the time when I was growing up is like, te tienes que mover más, like, no, no, esto es muy seria. And it's like, if I move, I will lose like my tempo, like it'll be done. I'm not a performer like that. It's so hard. But I know I've seen you play and you are just kind of like doing your thing. And like it's just so much fun when we've gone to see you play or seen you guys play. My focus is mainly on you and Rene most of the time. Because
Hmm.
well, I am a bass player, so I really just want to see what you're doing, like what bass you have or what amp you're playing with or whatever. But it's really really fun, and I've also seen a lot of musicians that go and see you guys play because we all admire you guys and specifically you as well as a bass player. A lot of us, we use you as a blueprint, out here. We're like, oh,
Oh, nice.
we're trying to kind of follow you closely in what you're doing because you really impact us as bass players. So having you here and talking to you, it really is really surreal to me because it's like all these bass players out there is like Felix Salinas. What's your favorite bass player? Felix Salinas. I mean, everyone. It's pretty amazing what you've done with your bass, and you didn't have social media until now.
Barely, yes. And the only reason I got it, well, it was about time that I did, but I signed a contract with an agreement with more. It's more of an agreement, um, because I really like the GNL bases and I hadn't tried them out,
Mm-hmm.
and the person I spoke with, they're like, have you ever considered, having social media because, for later on, in life, the way things are, when you're not here anymore, it's, that's, uh, people can still see, what you did and
Yeah.
have more access, and I was more of the person of, like John Deacon from Queen,
Mm-hmm.
iconic bass player, one of my favorite bass players.
Yeah.
What's he doing today? I have no idea. I don't know anything, don't know anybody that knows him, or
Yeah.
and I would like to know, what does he do? Does he drink coffee in the morning, or what does he listen to, or
Yeah.
so that kind of like it opened up my way of wanting to share with besides the music that we put out with Intocable and with other bands that I recorded with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm like, okay, well, let me just try it, and so yeah, I'm barely
Yeah, getting
getting
into it.
started on this, and then using one of my favorite bases now of all time is the GNL
Mm-hmm.
uh, company basis, and after seeing the factory, going over there and actually seeing where Leo Fender sat, and worked
Mm-hmm.
on the bases, how he did it, explained to me the process, and I feel very connected to the work that he did.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'll be there for a long time.
Oh, good. Well, we're glad to hear that, and we are glad
Uh,
to have you on social media because I think otherwise it would have been really difficult to get to you, to have this opportunity to speak to you. But social media definitely is, if used correctly, immortalizes people. Like you could, like you said, you'll have all these memories on there, and that's kind of the feel behind Saucy Bass Talk. We want to have these conversations with musicians and specifically bass players to have this forever for people to always see, and listen to. So that's
mm.
pretty cool. And but yeah, I was just gonna ask, you play 4 string mainly, or you alternate between 4 or 5 string basses?
um, I alternate. Not all the time. My main instrument is a four-string bass.
Right.
Um, and then sometimes I'll take out the five-string, the GNL that I have there, the L 2500 that I use.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends. Sometimes I'll use, when I came into Intocable and with Bobby, I was using the Yamaha TRB5.
Mm-hmm.
And for a short while, I had a Ken Smith Chuck Rainey model five-string
Oh,
bass.
Ken Smiths are beautiful.
They are beautiful instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to the four-string for a while, and then I came back to the five-string, and then back. Then for the longest time, I used a four-string.
Mm-hmm.
And like this past summer, I had been using a four-string for about 15 years already, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then this summer, I bought a Music Man, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try this Music Man, and I really love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got introduced to the GNL basses and was able to try them also, and I fell in love with those also. So
Yeah.
I'm using the GNL
Yeah. Well,
five-string and four-string. It just
okay.
depends.
Like what you're
What,
feeling that day, pretty much.
yeah, usually I'll go with the four,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll go with the five. It just
Yeah.
depends. But usually it's the four.
Do you feel a little bit weird when you alternate between a 4 and a 5? Like, is it a little of like a brain change when you're like playing? Like, wait, I don't have the 5 right now, or wait, I'm on a 4, so I have to kind of play things differently?
Well, I gotta put the thinking cap on more with the four-string
Yes.
because if I want to play a note and it's all the way down here to the
Mm-hmm.
left side, and you don't have the fifth string where you can just usually just jump over, and it's right then and there. But I don't use the fifth string too much. Maybe I use it for the ballads, for the beginning of a song, for the palos golpes. It just depends what the song is.
Mm-hmm.
On Sueña, I recorded it with a five string.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Fuerte No Soy is also a five string. Except the beginning of Fuerte No Soy, I used the 1997 Warwick fretless bass at the beginning of that song.
Okay.
And then, well, actually, the whole CD is with the Ken Smith Chuck Rainey model bass, that whole Contigo CD.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all good. They're all good basses. You connect, with them.
Yeah. Yeah, just
So,
like you said, like you just have to find that connection
right,
with
you
it.
just have
Yeah,
to
with
find
your
the
bass.
connection, and right now I'm having GNL make me a bass guitar, and And first I told them I wanted a 4 string, and then I'm like, wait, I called, a month passed by, and I am like, have y'all started at the bass? And they're like, no, not yet. We're about to. I'm like, well, hold on, just give me a little bit, because I think I'm gonna change my mind to 5 string.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're like, you know what? The NAMM show is coming up in January. We're just gonna wait till then and see what you think. Then we'll start it. I'm like, okay, cool. So it gives me a little bit more time to decide.
Yeah.
What if I can go with a 4 string, 5 string.
What route you're
I know
gonna
it
go.
definitely. I want to go with an ebony fretboard.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. And we'll see what else occurs between now and the NAMM show to decide which one they're gonna make.
Yeah. That's awesome that you're going to be attending. I mean, I know for sure we're going, well, I'm going to, because I have a few bass players out there that we're going to do some interviews for. So I hope that we get to connect. That'd be great. Did you hear any Rooster singing?
No.
Oh,
No.
because I'm in
No,
where I live. My dad tiene muchísimos gallos, so there was like
oh,
a
wow.
second where they were just all singing, and I was like, oh my god.
Really? No, I didn't hear anything at all. That must have sounded cool.
Yeah,
When it
there's
comes out, you should leave that in there.
it's so funny because a lot of the interviews that I do through the Zoom, you'll hear like at a distance the gallos, but I don't mind. I
Oh,
grew up with gallos, so I don't care. And I'm like, oh, I don't care. I still always leave it in the the video. I just was
yeah.
curious to know if you were hearing it because I was like, oh my gosh, it
No,
was like a good
no,
minute where they were, and it's like 20 to 30 of them. Okay,
oh,
so it
nice.
is tons of them, but um
Wow.
anyways, okay, let's redirect back to the interview because we're getting close to the end now. We're getting close to
Okay.
despedirnos. And I just wanted to again thank you for allowing us this time and space in your day on your vacation time to do this interview with us. And I really hope that we get to see you one day and actually do another episode, but in person. I really hope that does happen. And when you're out here, mi casa está abierta para ti, para tu familia. We would love
Oh,
to
thank you.
host a dinner for you guys if you guys were willing, and if your time permits it. Um, we would love to have you here and have a homemade meal for you guys.
I appreciate it.
So
Definitely.
I wanted to just end this conversation with saying that Intocable, but specifically you, have shaped a lot of us in the music industry, and you have really inspired many of us, and we are the same as you, where there's a lot of times where I would text my brother and I would ask him, I wonder what Felix Salinas is doing right now. Not gonna lie. Because you were so MIA. Same thing with, I don't know if
Mhm.
you know who Los Cachorros de Juan Villarreal are. um
Yes, they're from here, from the valley.
yeah, so Don Chencho, same thing. He doesn't have social media, and I occasionally ask my brother, I wonder what he's doing right now. I wonder how he is. But we're more than glad to have you on social media now, and for giving us this space to connect with you. And yeah, is there any advice to end this conversation? Any advice that you would like to give bass players out there that are following their dreams as well, like you did?
Well, the advice that I could give is just say what it makes you happy. There's not, in my book. I mean, there's no right way to play. There's no wrong way. I mean, it's just play what you feel, at the moment, and to really keep an ear open as to what um the other guys are playing. One thing I tell my son is, like me, I love to play. I play to play the drums. I'm not a drummer, and you'll never see me play the drums in front of, like, with the band and stuff. Just I bang on them here at the house,
Mm-hmm.
But I tell my son I'm kind of playing, and it sounds weird, but when I'm playing the bass, I imagine I'm playing the drums on the bass. I don't know if that makes sense
Mm-hmm.
or not, or like when you know Rene is playing, he's like, I hear the bass, and and it's kind of weird because he tells me the same thing. I'm kind of playing the bass like what would I do, but instead of on the bass, but I'll do it on the drums. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like a weird connection type of deal, but it's just all feel. Really, it is.
Yeah.
All feel to it.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Felix, for being here with us today. Do you know when you guys start your shows back up?
I believe we start February 15th. We'll be at the Plaza de Toros in la Ciudad de Mexico.
Okay.
We're starting off there. And then from there, pues it's just, I think we'll be doing like the East Coast, the Chicago area. And then we'll move our way, to the central and to the eastern part of the U.S. and pues, all over Mexico also.
Oh, great.
So we'll be around.
And you guys are coming back out here?
Yes, we usually go out back to California in the summer.
Okay.
In summers, and then in October, I believe, somewhere.
Okay.
I think this last year we did the Microsoft.
Yes.
Last year we did the Greek theater. So it just depends which way
they send you guys,
or where they put us, or they send us to.
Yes.
So,
awesome.
But another thing I just want to say before, also I forgot to not that I forgot to add, but I'm also inspired by Luis Miguel's band, and Luis Miguel, what they do to me is amazing. I just really love the way they all play, with the way Lalo plays the bass and Kike the guitar, and I mean all of them. They have a connection, a very strong connection in what they do and how they respond to the notes and to the vocals that Luis Miguel gives. I mean, I listen to the live CDs every single day, just about the two of them that he has. They're very inspiring to me.
Yeah. I agree.
But other than that, still listen to. I still have my LPs. I still have cassettes that I take out, and even though it's a lot easier just to go to Spotify and hear them, I kind of want to see the cassette move and see the needle on the record.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's just me.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you, everyone that joined on Saucy Bass Talk today. Thank you again, Felix Salinas, for having this conversation with us. And we are going to be seeing you soon. We are crossing our fingers on that. But all of you viewers, Saucy Bass Talk brings you some of the best bass players out there. And today it was top of the line bass player Felix Salinas. So stay tuned all the time to hear more updates on what we're going to be doing next. And also don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share this video with your friends and fellow bass players. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care.